Maryland Real Estate License Law Practice Test. Question 1. A licensee preparing for a title examination must recognize the Maryland Ethical Standard for Real Estate Advertising. Which concept does this describe? Option A. Include at least one licensee team member's name. Option B. Present a true and non-misleading picture. Option C. Show the broker or branch manager telephone number. Option D. Disclose the advertiser's license status and broker relationship. The correct answer is option B. Present a true and non-misleading picture. Material limitations should not be hidden in a way that creates a false impression. Claims about property, services, pricing, and credentials must be accurate and supportable. The standard applies to digital, print, telephone, and other consumer communications. Question 2. Which answer correctly classifies a situation involving the examination requirement before a Maryland salesperson can proceed toward original licensure? Option A. Pass only the national portion. Option B. Average the two scores into one result. Option C. Pass both the national and state portions. Option D. Pass only the state portion. The correct answer is option C. Pass both the national and state portions. Maryland divides the licensing examination into separate national and state components. A candidate who passes only one part must still satisfy the remaining portion within the applicable eligibility period. Each portion must be passed at the required standard rather than averaging the scores together. Question 3. At an inspection period in Silver Spring, Victor explains the usual Maryland timing for a covered seller's residential property form. Which real estate principle is involved? Option A. No duty to disclose a death or felony occurrence as a property defect. Option B. Inform the seller of disclosure or disclaimer obligations. Option C. A hidden material condition posing a direct health or safety threat. Option D. Deliver the disclosure or disclaimer on or before contract formation. The correct answer is option D. Deliver the disclosure or disclaimer on or before contract formation. Late delivery can create statutory termination rights subject to deadlines and exceptions. The buyer should receive the information before becoming bound under the contract. The purchaser dates and signs an acknowledgement of receipt. Stressed about your Maryland real estate? We can take Maryland real estate for you remotely and undetected. We always guarantee a pass and payments only after results. To send us an email, scan the code or tap the link in the description and let's get it done. Question 4. A transaction file for a townhouse raises an issue involving the record minus retention period for documents connected with a completed Maryland real estate transaction. Which answer best resolves the classification? Option A. 5 years after closing. Option B. 3 years after closing. Option C. 5 years after license renewal. Option D. Until the next commission audit. The correct answer is option A. 5 years after closing. Electronic signatures and documents are included within the records that must be preserved. The period begins on the closing date for a completed transaction. Transaction documents must remain available for the statutory 5-year period. Question 5. Which concept should a seller apply to facts involving the required location for Maryland trust minus money records? Option A. A non-interest bearing escrow or special account. Option B. A secured area within the broker's office. Option C. Notify the commission in writing within 10 days. Option D. Written instructions or written agreement of the interested parties. The correct answer is option B. A secured area within the broker's office. Secure storage supports the broker's accounting and supervision duties. The record should permit the broker and commission personnel to trace deposits and disbursements. Trust minus account documentation must be protected from unauthorized access or loss. Question 6. Nora is studying a rule concerning the Maryland duty when the obligation to keep transaction funds ends. Which term should be chosen? Option A. Keep trust money until an authorized disposition occurs. Option B. A secured area within the broker's office. Option C. Promptly account for all trust money. Option D. Notify the commission in writing within 10 days. The correct answer is option C. Promptly account for all trust money. The broker must show the receipts, balance, and authorized disposition of the money. Accurate accounting protects both the owner and beneficial owner. Delay or unexplained shortages can lead to disciplinary consequences. Question 7. When an office building transaction involves the Maryland restriction on compensation for performing real estate brokerage services, which answer identifies the controlling concept? Option A. Pay any referrer who provides a buyer name. Option B. Pay an unlicensed assistant a percentage of commission. Option C. Pay a customer for performing license negotiations. Option D. Do not pay brokerage compensation to an unlicensed person. The correct answer is option D. Do not pay brokerage compensation to an unlicensed person. Certain out-of state or licensed entity exceptions apply only when statutory conditions are met. Referral or commission payments cannot be used to evade licensing requirements. Administrative or marketing services should be distinguished from acts requiring a license. Question 8. A practice question describes the Maryland passing standard for the national and state examination components. Which response is best? Option A. Earn at least 70% on each portion. Option B. Earn 60% on each portion. Option C. Earn 75% as a combined average. Option D. Earn 80% on the state portion only. The correct answer is option A. Earn at least 70% on each portion. The minimum score applies independently to each examination part. Candidates should prepare for both national principles and Maryland specific law. Strong performance on one portion cannot offset a failing result on the other. Are you looking for Maryland real estate actual questions? Visit our website pokerexams.com to access Maryland Real Estate Study Guide with actual questions and answers. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description to get Maryland Real Estate Answer Key today. Question 9. During a marketing review, which principle is illustrated by the representation structure required in a Maryland dual-agency transaction? Option A. The broker or designated branch office manager. Option B. Assign separate intra-company agents to the buyer and seller. Option C. Do not reveal a client's negotiating limits without authorization. Option D. Disclose offered financial bonuses to each party. The correct answer is option B. Assign separate intra-company agents to the buyer and seller. The dual agent cannot simultaneously serve as either client's intra-company agent. Different affiliated licensees advocate for the opposing clients within the same brokerage. Each assigned representative provides the services ordinarily owed to that client, including negotiation advice. Question 10. Which answer states the concept associated with the Maryland procedure when a party fails to complete the transaction and the broker intends to distribute trust money under statutory authority? Option A. Promptly account for all trust money. Option B. Keep brokerage and client money separate. Option C. Provide notice to both interested parties before a good-faith distribution. Option D. Written instructions or written agreement of the interested parties. The correct answer is option C. Provide notice to both interested parties before a good-faith distribution. The decision must reflect a good-faith reading of the contract that created the trust. Interpleader or continued holding may be appropriate when the broker does not make a discretionary distribution. The broker communicates the intended recipient before releasing the funds. Question 11. A landlord handling a mixed-use property in Rockville must identify the Maryland requirement when a licensee advertises the sale, rent, or purchase of real property. Which choice is correct? Option A. Avoid the words real estate or real estate brokerage in the team name. Option B. Include the licensed brokerage name conspicuously. Option C. Show the broker or branch manager telephone number. Option D. Disclose the advertiser's license status and broker relationship. The correct answer is option D. Disclose the advertiser's license status and broker relationship. Failure to provide the information can be grounds for discipline. A salesperson or associate broker must also identify the broker on whose behalf the advertisement is made. The public should know that the advertiser is acting as a licensed professional. Question 12. During a pre-listing meeting for a subdivision lot in Cumberland, Yasmin needs to identify the rule described as the document establishing a Maryland residential brokerage relationship between a broker and client. Which answer applies? Option A. A written brokerage agreement. Option B. Explain the differences among Maryland agency roles. Option C. Treat every party fairly and honestly. Option D. Display the commission open-house notice conspicuously. The correct answer is option A. A written brokerage agreement. The agreement defines the representation, services, compensation, and duties. Agency should not be inferred from casual assistance when state law requires a written relationship. The document also helps the parties understand potential conflicts and termination rights. Question 13. A listing broker is reviewing a small apartment building in Westminster. Which term describes the listing licensee's Maryland duty in a covered residential transaction? Option A. A hidden material condition posing a direct health or safety threat. Option B, inform the seller of disclosure or disclaimer obligations. Option C, no duty to disclose a death or felony occurrence as a property defect. Option D, inform the buyer of statutory disclosure rights. The correct answer is option B, inform the seller of disclosure or disclaimer obligations. The licensee is not required to conduct an independent property inspection solely to complete the seller's form. The seller must understand the state form choices, timing, and latent defect responsibilities. Proper instruction and delivery protect the purchaser's statutory rights. Question 14. At a due diligence meeting, a Maryland exam candidate encounters the following description: the authority needed for a Maryland broker to invest trust money. Which concept is being tested? Option A, keep brokerage and client money separate. Option B, promptly account for all trust money. Option C, written instructions or written agreement of the interested parties. Option D, provide notice to both interested parties before a good-faith distribution. The correct answer is option C, written instructions or written agreement of the interested parties. The broker may not place client money in an investment based on unilateral judgment. Records must remain available for inspection and accounting. Written direction identifies the permitted account or investment arrangement. Question 15. Priya is assisting with a condominium unit transaction in Cambridge. Which principle applies when the facts involve the retention period when a Maryland-listed transaction does not close? Option A, 3 years after the listing date. Option B, 5 years after the license expires. Option C, until the property is listed again. Option D, 5 years after the listing date. The correct answer is option D, 5 years after the listing date. Closing-based retention applies only when the transaction is completed. Maryland still requires preservation of the listing and related documents when no settlement occurs. The 5-year period is measured from the listing date in that circumstance. Question 16. Which answer most accurately identifies the state body responsible for licensing, examination, regulation, and discipline of real estate licensees in a real estate transaction in the property management audit described? Option A, the Maryland Real Estate Commission. Option B, the Maryland Association of Realtors. Option C, the Local Planning Commission. Option D, the Maryland Department of Assessments and Taxation. The correct answer is option A, the Maryland Real Estate Commission. It adopts and enforces rules within authority granted by statute. Private trade associations do not issue Maryland real estate licenses. The Commission acts to protect public health, safety, and welfare through professional regulation. Question 17. A question arising during buyer consultation concerns the Maryland definition of a latent defect for residential disclosure purposes. Which choice gives the best classification? Option A, inform the seller of disclosure or disclaimer obligations. Option B, a hidden material condition posing a direct health or safety threat. Option C, inform the buyer of statutory disclosure rights. Option D, no duty to disclose a death or felony occurrence as a property defect. The correct answer is option B, a hidden material condition posing a direct health or safety threat. A seller choosing the disclaimer route must still disclose known qualifying latent defects. Its significance arises from the direct danger to a purchaser or occupant. The condition is not one a careful visual inspection would reasonably reveal. Question 18. While analyzing a warehouse, Imani must apply the concept involving the standard Maryland imposes on a broker overseeing affiliated salespersons and associate brokers. Which answer should be selected? Option A, no supervision for independent contractors. Option B, supervision only after a complaint. Option C, reasonable and adequate supervision. Option D, supervision limited to escrow matters. The correct answer is option C, reasonable and adequate supervision. The broker must maintain controls that support lawful and competent brokerage services. Independent-contractor status does not remove the broker's supervisory duty. Failure to supervise can support disciplinary action against the broker.
Stressed about your FCLE? We can take FCLE for you remotely and undetected. We always guarantee a pass in payments only after results. To send us an email, scan the code or tap the link in the description and let's get it done.
Question 19. Which real estate term is defined by the General Maryland Rule for a salesperson or associate broker receiving payment for brokerage services? Option A, accept payment directly from any client. Option B, accept payment from a settlement vendor. Option C, accept payment from an unlicensed referral source. Option D, accept compensation only through the affiliated broker. The correct answer is option D, accept compensation only through the affiliated broker. Direct payment from a client, vendor, or other person can violate the license relationship. The supervising brokerage controls compensation and transaction accounting. Statutory exceptions must be applied narrowly and documented. Question 20. In a transaction involving a vacant parcel, which rule controls when there is the maximum administrative monetary penalty Maryland may impose under the cited disciplinary section? Option A, a penalty of up to $5,000 per violation. Option B, avoid prizes, lotteries, or contests used to influence a property sale. Option C, verify a recommended home minus improvement contractor's license annually. Option D, do not guarantee future resale profits. The correct answer is option A, a penalty of up to $5,000 per violation. The Commission considers seriousness, harm, good faith, and prior violations when setting an amount. Separate violations can create separate penalty exposure. The fine may be imposed instead of or in addition to reprimand, suspension, or revocation. Question 21. A investor asks about a required subject in the Maryland Written Representation Disclosure. Which answer provides the legally accurate concept? Option A, disclose representation through the medium of first contact. Option B, explain the differences among Maryland agency roles. Option C, a written brokerage agreement. Option D, present written offers and counteroffers promptly. The correct answer is option B, explain the differences among Maryland agency roles. Understanding the roles supports informed decisions about entering a brokerage agreement. Consumers must be able to distinguish seller agency, buyer agency, subagency, dual agency, and intra-minus company representation. The disclosure also describes fairness, confidentiality, material minus fact, and offer minus presentation duties. Question 22. Owen encounters the retention period for Maryland property minus management transaction records during a offer review. Which principle should guide the analysis? Option A, 3 years after termination. Option B, 5 years after the last rent payment. Option C, 5 years after termination of the management agreement. Option D, until a new manager is appointed. The correct answer is option C, 5 years after termination of the management agreement. The period begins when the management agreement terminates. Accurate long minus term records support owner accounting and regulatory review. Property managers must preserve the required documents beyond the active management relationship. Question 23. Which choice best matches the description the minimum age qualification for a Maryland real estate salesperson applicant? Option A, at least 16 years old. Option B, at least 19 years old. Option C, at least 21 years old. Option D, at least 18 years old. The correct answer is option D, at least 18 years old. Age alone does not authorize brokerage activity before the license is issued. The applicant must also satisfy education, examination, character, and broker minus affiliation requirements. Maryland requires a salesperson applicant to have reached 18 years of age. Question 24. During review of a retail suite in Ocean City, the parties discuss a Maryland duty owed in residential brokerage relationships. Which term applies? Option A, present written offers and counteroffers promptly. Option B, disclose representation through the medium of first contact. Option C, no later than the first scheduled face minus to minus face contact. Option D, a written brokerage agreement. The correct answer is option A, present written offers and counteroffers promptly. The licensee transmits written proposals in a timely manner even when the property is already subject to a contract. The client, not the licensee, decides how to respond unless lawful authority provides otherwise. Delaying an offer to influence compensation or outcome can breach professional duties. Question 25. An exam scenario presents the consent required before a Maryland broker or qualified branch manager acts as dual agent. Which answer is most accurate in the title examination described? Option A, the broker or designated branch office manager. Option B, written informed consent of all parties. Option C, do not reveal a client's negotiating limits without authorization. Option D, assign separate intra-minus company agents to the buyer and seller. The correct answer is option B, written informed consent of all parties. A buyer or seller may refuse consent and is not required to accept the conflict. Dual representation creates conflicts that must be explained before the arrangement proceeds. The consent form must comply with Maryland's content and affirmation requirements.